Welcome to What the Biz, where we talk about building successful businesses, balancing life, and all the WTB in between. With your hosts,
I'm Bridget Vector.
And I'm Dan Prochko.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to What the Biz. Interesting topic today, okay, because we're in a market where AI can generate infinite content, which really means that authority, authenticity are really the remaining competitive advantages that most small businesses have. So as search engines lose ground to social discovery, AI is flooding every feed. Small businesses can no longer win by just being visible. They actually have to win by being human. We're going to talk about all that today in this episode of What the Biz. But first, let me say hello to my wonderful co-host friend, Bridget Vector. Are you feeling rested up since your week-long retreat?
It was a busy retreat. There was a lot happening and in a different time zone. So, and then I came back to another conference. So it was like back to back. I was home for one day. And I got home yesterday from that other conference and I walked in the door and kids had things and stuff to do. So running around, and I think I finally got home at 7:00 last night, and I sat down on the couch, and next thing I know is I heard my son say, "Is mom sleeping?" And I was like, "Oh, I must have fallen asleep." So yes, but good. Yeah, good things.
You were out in the Pacific time zone at first, right? Yeah,
I was.
I was out there for just 3 days. Okay,
yep.
for 3 day quick 3 day weekend, and it screwed me up.
Yeah,
bad for 3 days. We even tried to wake up at our normal time, which would have been 4 a.m. and whatever, and go and we did that when we were out there, me and Jenny, and it still screwed us up. We came back and we're still totally messed up for some reason. It's so bad. So going from one conference that's on that time zone to then come to another conference on a different time zone, that's like running into a brick wall with your sleep schedule and everything. It's nuts.
Yes. I was only in the Pacific time zone, same kind of thing, 4 days, right? And I did the same thing. I couldn't flip flop. I woke up in the middle of the night and it was okay, we're working. And
we're working. Yeah.
I have team on this time zone, so it all worked out. But it has felt like a brick wall. So
because you stay up later. That's what I found. We ended up staying up later, you stay up till 11 o'clock in that time zone. That's 2 a.m. for us. And and then you're still waking up at the equivalent of 6 a.m. our time. It's just I've had no sleep I'm delusional by the end of 4 days.
Well, flying home, I was telling my daughter, because she came out there with me, she hung out, and I was I feel like we're floating through a matrix. I'm kind of where am I and who am I and what am I doing at this point? It's bizarre. It is a bizarre feeling. So anybody that does that a lot, if you're a listener and you do that a lot, I feel for you, because I didn't think it would impact me, but it definitely did.
Yeah, I have that friend, that friend Roman, he, the consultant that runs around, and he's in different time zones all the time. And I'm just do you just have a universal time zone that you're in? You've just decided to have an arbitrary universal time zone, and you're always in, and I don't know, he hasn't answered me on that one, but it's a very interesting piece. Anyway, all right, here we go.
It's proof we're all human. Look at
that's human. Exactly it. Proof we're all human, which is really going to matter for today. Okay. That's kind of, I think, the through line of everything we're talking about today is you got to be human. Our first topic today coming from Forbes.com. Social SEO is finally rivaling Google search. Over half of Gen Z and a third of all consumers. Let me share where this is coming from. Third of all consumers are now searching TikTok and Instagram first.
First. Oh my god.
First. Okay. So basically, that's cool that we got websites. It's cool that we're doing our product pages. That's great that we're posting on I guess Facebook. We got our email newsletters. But when half of an entire generation and a third of all consumers are now going to social first, I think we kind of have to think about being on social. And, for me, the most annoying thing through this is there's this whole idea you don't have to be everywhere. But reading this, the only thing I felt was, I think I have to be everywhere. I don't know what you thought when you read this, but that hit me first. And it sort of made me die inside a little bit. But yeah.
I agree. Like, and I think I mentioned this to you. Like when I read the line and the stat that over half of Gen Z and a third of all consumers, okay, we're not talking
Yeah,
just like
all.
younger generations, we're talking all are searching like two platforms that I am not actively on, mind you. First, I also kind of died, and I think it's from the stance of like I feel overwhelmed by how much social media is taking over. And when there's an attempt to not be a major consumer of it for my own like personal peace, but then realizing like that's where people that I really can help and support and like make a difference in are living, I kind of have to be there. And I think we can't fight the trends or the numbers. Like there is proof like for all of this, right? And I think what I'm taking away, and probably what our listeners should take away, is if you're not showing up on one of these platforms, look at all the people that are searching there first that you're never going to be in front of. Like it's very, I don't want to call it humbling. It's just kind of like, oh my gosh, like it's either do it or don't, and pay the price for not, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a positive piece here though, is that, and this comes from Buzz in Content, is that, you know, creator marketing is actually now a core media channel in most companies' budgets. And you'll see where I'm going with this in a second. Is that, and when I say creator marketing, is using creators to create authentic content that's human content. You know, almost 40% of an ad market of businesses now is going toward that creator market. What's great to hear about that is that what it means is that the content that we need to put on social doesn't have to be super polished. And that's the piece I'm taking away from all of this is, yes, more budgets is going toward the creator market. Yes, a lot of people are on social, but we don't have to be amazing video editors, photographers, etc. The idea here is we need to be authentic ourselves and just put something out that talks about what we're up to, what we're doing, who we are, what we stand for. And a lot of the data actually bears that out, is that, you know, authentic first video is actually crushing polished ads right now. So lower production value, behind the scenes type content is outperforming anything that looks super polished, high end, and really well edited. And so I think that's permission to, yeah, fine. You're in your backyard. You just finished gardening. You had a great idea. Your hands are dirty. You got some dirt, whatever. Take a video and do that video that you thought you were going to do. That's when it hit you. That's where you're at. You're a real person. Just do it. Like, yeah. And it is, I'm not saying that's easy. Okay. And I don't want that to sound like just do it is easy, but I think we all get in our heads around, you know, we have that imposter syndrome. That's like, does it make sense for me to put this out? Mm-hmm. You know, and does this look the way I want it to look? Are people going to perceive this the way I want to be perceived? And we ask these questions over and over again. It just stops us from doing what we need to do. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing about social is that it's fleeting. You know, I think that's one reason why we both have this, like, that pit in our stomach when we think about it, is because we know the moment we put something out, it's already old and done. Mm-hmm. It doesn't stick around, you know. And I know some of the algorithms have changed a little bit to bring some older stuff back, but only when it relates to something new. So it's like, that should also be some permission in there as well. I mean, you could hear that as like, great, so what I create doesn't matter. Why should I even create it? The better way I think to think about it, and the way I'm trying to think about it, is don't be precious about what you create. It's okay to make the mistakes, because it's not going to stick around long enough to cause any damage.
Yep.
You're going to have your new thing out that's going to take over it.
And so it's kind of funny because we had this episode topic, like, kind of outlined and picked just because we've seen these trends going on before I went to the conference that I was at in the other time zone. And it's really funny because this was a huge topic during that business conference. Okay. Like this was a huge conversational piece. Like, so much to the point of the like being authentic was like the top conversation, because the consumers are so sick of AI, and they are totally sick of polished, because half the time, if it's polished, it's AI polished, right? And they're looking for people to be them real selves. So what better way to be your real self than have a thought, turn it on, like turn on the video, record what you have to say, and like, I love your point, Dan, like just put it out there. Like, you will be impacting, and successful business owners are the ones that are creating a difference in other people's lives. You can't create a difference in somebody's life if they don't even know that you exist. And if they can't find you, they don't know that you exist, right? So like, whatever you're an expert in, be the expert. Like, own the fact that you're the expert in that, and just, I know it's not easy. We're saying, like, Dan and I are saying this from a place of, we know it's not easy because we aren't like totally embracing this and doing it ourselves. We were actually talking about that. Like, find an accountability partner, right?
Yeah.
Like, hold each other to it, because like, it is just the fact of what is happening. And I do think it's exciting in some ways, because maybe it is a solution. And like, even for my own company marketing, right? Like, there's certain pieces that I don't love doing, but if I know what I need to be focused on, it makes it a little easier to focus there.
Yeah.
Than to just like randomly throw darts at a board and be like, is this gonna stick or work?
Yeah.
And I think the other big takeaway of that, when I was like, this was the topic at the conference, and I don't even think it was intentional. I think it's just timely. Like, I think it's what's happening. Is to not forget that when people are finding you, have a way that they end up on your own email list. Like, we have a whole podcast around this. We might have multiple, and that doesn't change. You still want to get them off from that platform to your own list. Like, you still want them to engage with you in your list. That doesn't go away. What this is all saying is that the way that people are going to find you that don't already know about you are these platforms that are becoming like the number one search engines. So I don't think it means that blogs necessarily go away, because we've talked before about like, how do you get found in AI searches, right? Like, so I think there is still value, but that means that, can you have an Instagram that points back to your blog that then points them to get on your email list? Like, there are ways to interconnect all of this together. But I don't know. I think it's very interesting to see that it's taking over Google. Like, that's the part where I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that stat around like creator marketing is now a core media channel. Like, 40% of the digital ad market is now going toward that type of content. That's huge, because when you think about like where ad spend tends to go, it's towards search, content creation, but not creator content creation. So now we're saying, oh, we're going to go pay others to make content that's going to help raise our brand. What's cool about this is what I think is happening here. Not that I know this is what's happening. TikTok and Instagram, yes, they're two channels that I have avoided because I'm just not a big media creator. Okay. But what I'm reading is, and Facebook is doing this right now too, is that they're changing the way their algorithms work. So it's not about being number one anymore. Like, that's the way we always thought about search, is we had to be that first link. We had to be at the top. But what's interesting about these algorithms, especially TikTok, and I know that Instagram has tried to start emulating that a lot, is it's all about the trend or the theme or the context of what somebody is looking at. And so the searches, and like, as they scroll, what do they engage with? And it shows new content in there. So it becomes more of this awareness platform that's not about having the most followers, because that doesn't matter anymore, aka number one. Okay, this is on social, it's the same thing as number one, followers. It's more about, do I have content that people will engage with, that is valuable? And so the platforms will reshare that that content, so long as it adheres to that, which bodes well for all of us small creators, because we now can actually compete against those those channels that have millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of followers. But if we can create valuable content, we will cut through the noise, we will be found, we will be shown, and we'll get that engagement. Now, when I say valuable content, I don't mean you're sharing something that's high value. I mean that whoever is watching it finds value by engaging with it in some way. So value is a weird thing to say, because it has to be something that gets them to engage with the platform, keep them on there, use the tools, the like, the comment, or a share, etc. That's what makes it valuable on social. But I think there are ways to do that too. So it's not always having like the most viewed video or the top ranked blog post anymore. It's about, am I putting something out there that resonates with the audience that I want to hit? And if I do that, I should get more play, because those algorithms are changing. And so this was interesting in this this top conversation, is that Facebook is now actually putting in place algorithm changes to deprioritize AI slop. So they are actually going to start elevating actual authentic original content. So if your content strategy is, let's go to AI, create these videos, splice them together and put it out there, you are going to get hit real hard on what's going on. So real voices, real people, looks, polished is a relative term, but if it's somebody on there, etc., it's not high edit, cut sweeps and all this other stuff. It's going to look authentic, and it's going to cut through the algorithm.
So I wrote down some takeaways from the conference that I was at, just kind of around this, and something that I think really hit me, and you started to allude to this with it's not about the number of followers or the number of people, you know what I mean? You don't have to have the top number of likes. The really cool thing about the algorithms is that eventually it's going to put you in front of your ideal people, right? So when they were talking about like, well, this is how you think about it. Like, you're sitting across having a cup of coffee. Like when you're getting ready to put this content together, you're having a cup of coffee with somebody, right? And just think about like the top things that you get asked in whatever solution expert that you are in, right? And you just share what your answer would be to that. That is what your audience is looking for. Like, your ideal customers will find you because that is exactly what they're looking for. Like, if you speak their exact problem and solution, they're going to be like, holy cow, somebody does know like exactly what I need. And so the other part that they kind of put in perspective is like, think about your own business, right? And I'll use mine or even yours, Dan, as an example, right? What difference would it make if 5 people found me and one of those people engaged with me for my advisory services, and I added 1 retainer client to my company? That's huge for us.
Huge.
Like, that is a dramatic difference in our business, and a dramatic difference that we are serving that customer now, right? Like, we are filling this huge void that they had. I don't need 1 million people to find me.
Right. Yeah.
And most businesses don't need 1 million people, but we have this like scared vanity metric because everything in the online world has been measured by, well, how many likes did you get? Or how many people actually viewed that? Some of the most successful businesses have the lowest number of viewers, and it's because they only have the audience that should be viewing them. And that should make all of us feel good, honestly.
I love this point. I'm going to do a little quick math right now because I love this point. This is totally like inspired something in my brain. If you think about the average conversion rate online, it's 1%. Okay. Like, that's just like the average across all digital marketing, etc. Everybody, good marketers, bad everybody put together, 1%. So if you think of it that way, like 1% of people convert on a form. Okay. So if I get 100 people, the right perfect people to see my content, 100 of them, that's not a lot. 1 person converts. Okay. 1. Okay. Then you think about, what's my sales rate? Okay. If I have a sales rate of 50%, I only need 2 form submissions to get a new client, which means I only need 200 people, 200 of my audience to see something online that gets them to engage in the right way, etc. And that sounds, but that's just how easy it is all I mean to say. It's like, that's how simple the numbers work. We don't need millions of people to see the video. If we make the video right, it's got the right signals on it, it gets in front of the right audience, we only need the right 100 or the right 1,000. That's really easy to do on social nowadays for no followers or anything. I mean, yeah, that's so doable,
And it will be a lot easier is if you're just consistently putting out consistent solution expert content, right? Because you're going to find those people are just going to be brought into your world. They're just going to be cycling through what you're doing. So I think there is value to consistency and frequency of you putting things out, because if it is only once every month that you're doing something, it's going to be slower and you probably won't be in front of, and you're not going to be building trust as fast, right? But it's cool to hear that it doesn't have to be like this. Like, I think when people thought about video and social media in the past, it was like, oh, I have to have a whole production crew to make this amazing video, because that is what was happening. Yes.
And YouTube, remember YouTube, like it used to be a ton of like garage creators. And then they started prioritizing all of those creators that upgraded their systems and started to look polished, etc. And I don't know what's going to happen with YouTube on that front with everything else going on.
I think
is this going to start reverting backwards? I mean, Shorts is a major part of YouTube now, and that's all garage band looking type stuff, you know, versus the high polished, like long form video that YouTube has so far, you know, been prioritizing. So I'm very curious what's going to happen on that front. That's very interesting, because it used to be you needed that to make it on YouTube, even as a new channel. You had to look pretty polished. And so now we're back at it's all cyclical. We're back at the beginning again, where it's you don't have to.
And I think some other stats that kind of came out of you know what I was just recently part of was around alluding to what you were saying with, if you are getting millions, you're probably not finding the ideal audience. Like, you're creating content for views and vanity, not so much for specialty, right? So that could very well be an indicator that, like, you're not probably going to draw in the best clients. And then the other side is, let's say you do figure it out and you are getting that level and you are getting those amount of inquiries. Can your business even support that amount of growth? Probably not. So isn't it a better thing to have this be like a slow ramp up, slow grow? You get some in, and then you're figuring out your other systems in your business to, as your content takes off, you can build the systems to support, you know, bringing in more customers, more clients. I don't think you want the hit right off the gate.
Oh, definitely not. No, I agree with you. No, no.
It'd be cool,
how many businesses
but like,
have broken,
you're not going
right?
to be able to support
it all. You can't support it all. How many businesses and things have crumbled because they built too quickly? Yes. They don't have the systems to support it in the end, you know? Yes. And so no, if you grew that fast, oh man, you need a lot of investment to build out all those systems and processes to make sure that you wouldn't crumble. Like, no, that'd be crazy. But let me push back just a little bit on that, actually, as I thought about what you said. It's just like, if you're attracting millions of people, you might not be targeting your right audience. I might say that might not be true. And I'm thinking about it in the fact of, like, I watch some varied stuff on YouTube and on social, like varied. You know, it's not just marketing content. I'm out there watching gardeners. I'm watching this. I'm watching that. I'm coming across a random city planning video about how to better design a street. And it is not written for the layman. It's written for the city planner. Like, just the way they talk and everything they show. But because it's good content, it's compelling. And so I think there's something around good content is just good content. And so long as we're passionate about it and we are coming at it from the angle of, teaching and sharing our expertise and being valuable in that way, I think you could get a huge following, because you will inevitably make it compelling for people to pay attention. You know, I'm thinking like Gary Vaynerchuk, okay, when he started, I mean, sure, there is no such thing as an overnight success. It was years in the making, but he did the whole wine thing, you know, those wine videos. People started watching those videos not because they were into wine. They started watching it because it was compelling. He was creating something in a way that made it interesting and entertaining back when he first started, and then started branching out from there, et cetera. And so I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. Like, I think if you make something that is just, if it's quality, it's quality. It's valuable, it's valuable. You know, it doesn't have to be polished. It's just, if it's something that shows you've got that passion, you've got that knowledge and expertise, people will be attracted to you, whether they are that perfect audience who wants your service or not. I just have this feeling around that.
Yeah, and I think I'm speaking more towards, like, like maybe you do have a video that goes viral or gets a lot of views. I think my point is like more so like don't chase that.
Yes. No, I
Like,
agree with you there.
don't-
Yeah.
Like, because the likelihood of you becoming like a multi-million follower account very quickly is very small, right?
Very. Yeah.
So if you are building your videos, and this would be being in an inauthentic place, right? Because you're like, oh wow, look at, they're really resonating with all of this, but it's not really like, it's not really fully about what I would be doing. You will be building a following of people that probably will never buy from you, and that's going to screw up your algorithm too. Like that
Oh,
would be an
100%. No,
opposite.
yeah.
Yeah,
That
an
is so
opposite
true.
effect.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Look, if you're a gardener trying to teach people how to make like homesteading in your backyard, like that's a certain audience. You're not going to start doing, videos that reach out to the masses to get them to do, gardening. You're not going to start doing like smash cuts and fun stuff just to mess with the algorithm. Like, agreed. That stuff's going to fail because you're trying to be for everybody instead of for the audience you're supposed to be for. Yeah. To clarify my point, it's just like when you create it for your audience and you create it well and it's compelling and valuable and interesting, I think you will attract a lot more people just in general out of people's curiosity and desire
Sure.
for entertainment and education. So
Sure.
that's
Yep.
where I come from on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
agree.
Cool. I think it's time we move into our What the Biz moment. We didn't even touch base on this one, so I don't even know if you have one at this point.
Do you have one? If you go for
I
it.
do. I
Okay.
have one. It is not a small business thing whatsoever. I am actually going to harp on TikTok a little bit here and AI. I have been trying to create a new TikTok account, okay, for one of my businesses. And the email that I used somehow, I guess, is in their system in some way. And I got immediately banned and blocked from creating an account. I never created an account in my life, okay, on TikTok with that email address. It's not associated with anything, okay? The moment I created my account, it goes something around an account for this email already exists. I've never created an account before. So then when I go to reset my password, it goes, we don't have you in our system. And then when I go and I talk to support, I think I'm talking with an AI bot because all they say is, oh, that error should clear in 24 hours. Please wait and try again. And I'm having a hell of a time getting in touch with anybody who can help me just create an account so I can go on here and start spending money because I have an ad budget for this business. And it's just like, even the big guys can screw this up is where I'm coming from with this. It's just like, I get that AI is here. I get that we have these systems we think are infallible. Maybe a real person should be reachable in some way through some of these systems. Because now I'm kind of like up shit's creek without a paddle. Okay, I don't know what to go from here, to be honest. Like TikTok US it's all a black box. I got no clue. I've never been in this position before. Like even Facebook, I've been able to get a hold of somebody, okay, at some point, even without being logged in. But I'm literally in a weird place. I have no idea what to do at this point.
That's super. It's almost like it's really disappointing, to be honest, right? When you hit the like wall and it's like there's literally nothing I can do. And then we just talked about how TikTok is like one of the biggest platforms.
It's
like
huge.
there has to be a solution, right? There has to be. And I don't want to hear, because I'm sure somebody's going to say like the solution is we'll just use a different email. That's not the point.
That's not the point.
The point is that the email being used has never had an account, and there is no solution to like solve that. Like that's a problem. That's a problem.
Here's the funnier part. To that point is that's exactly what I tried. I got another email address to try again. The same thing happened. So TikTok has something else going on, and it has nothing to do with my email address. I think it has to do with my device. And I think because I already had something, it's really weird. Something around, I already have an account, okay, on TikTok for one, but because I'm now trying to log into another one, and because I was doing it on my desktop, not on my mobile device, I think they have something in place. Because when I was talking to the AI bot or the support, whatever it was like every time it told me to go get support, it said, go to your mobile device. And it even says, what mobile device did you create your account on? And I was just like, Windows 11, I'm not on a mobile device.
Right.
And so I think I have this sneaky suspicion that it's because I tried to do everything from the desktop and not from mobile first. And it's almost just like,
it's a lot easier to do it from desktop first.
Hugely. That's what I think so too. Exactly. And I get the TikTok's a mobile platform and somebody's listening like, you sound so old. You're on your computer doing TikTok. It's like, well, look, TikTok's got the TikTok studio and it works wonderfully on the desktop computer. It's way more valuable. So it's just like, I want to have that account. I want to, this is where I'm going to do my stuff from, like a creator, give me my analytics and everything. And I just think it's like the system's like, nope, you tried to start up on a desktop. We already know you're not good for us. You should not be on this platform. That's kind of how I'm taking it in my brain.
They've blacklisted you because they've labeled you as too old, Dan.
Right. They've labeled me as too old. You tried to do it on desktop, so you're out.
Oh my gosh. Have you tried doing it from mobile then? Like,
no, I haven't. I know I haven't. I'll get there. I just think this is a really funny story in the sense of like, I'm trying to create an account on desktop and it's blocking me. And they're like, get on mobile for support. I'm like, but I'm on desktop talking to you already. It's this whole like, what's going on here? So yeah, that's my what's a biz moment right now is like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. I'll give you an update in the future, but just something to think about customer experience wise, support. I get we have AI, it makes our life easy, but it can't solve every problem. I think there needs to be that human element somewhere on the line or a way to get in touch. That's maybe not 900 interactions before you can get there.
I think that's a great point because I know a lot of small businesses are implementing AI bots. I know you've been building them for some of your customers.
Yeah.
And I think as that's happening, like this is probably a great thought to maybe end this is that don't forget to have a process internally that you're still monitoring the interactions and that you still get a human somewhere to have a touch point with that individual somehow, some way, right? I think if everything is left to the AI bots, you will lose a lot of value of those interactions. And I know it's a lot easier, but still have a human component somewhere in a process or weekly checking how those interactions went. And maybe it's a feedback, right? You end with the chat bot and they give you a feedback. Probably be reviewing those. Like how many people actually have that and they never actually look at the answers or the responses?
Well, that's one of the things with the AI bots that we're creating is like we're training our clients on, no, you should check this, at first daily, then go to weekly. And just check it weekly, like just spot check it. Because you got to train them too. It's not just because you've trained them once, it works the way you think it's going to that you can just let it run, And so it's like, no, you got to go in, thumbs up, thumbs down, start putting in other information to focus it and train it on what to do. And so, yeah, if you don't, it can do some weird things,
Not everything is an instant easy button. There's still some work.
It's very true. It's very true. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of What the Biz. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We know that your time is super valuable, so thanks for spending it with us. If you got some value out of today's conversation, love if you could leave us a review on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just maybe share a little bit about what you learned in what episode. That really helps others find the show. And if you've got a hurdle or topic you want us to explore, get over to whatthebiz.com and you can drop us a line through one of the forums or even leave us a voicemail. We'd love to get your voice on a future episode. But until then, keep building, stay proactive, and we'll see you on the next one.